put into a cage. So I commend all of you for being here today. Thank you. I want to hand this back over to Miss Liz Reitzig from Raw Milk Freedom Riders.
Woo!
Thanks, Eddie, and thanks everyone for being here. This is a momentous occasion because it's a time when we're coming together publicly to say we will not comply. They can do what they want, but we will not comply. And if we all stand together and just simply say that and then act on that, we have that force behind us. And that's the most powerful thing that they can ever encounter, and that is how we are going to regain our freedom for voluntary exchange. You all being here today is such an important component of that. And in a couple minutes, we are going to have an opportunity to deliberately engage in the peaceful non-compliance. And we're going to be able to sell and we're going to be able to buy fresh milk and lemonade.
Sort of cute to her because this is they're waiting for the milk. You could really help them.
Last year, the same thing happened, where a few people got together right here on the lawn of the Capitol in order to sell the lemonade. And unfortunately, they got arrested. But they're here today, and they're here to tell us their story. And right now, I'd like to ask Catherine to come up and talk to us a little bit about that, and the importance of following through and how it's worth it. Even if something happens, it's worth it. Because without our non-compliance, we don't have any rights. Thank you, Catherine. And thanks all three of you for what you did last year, for setting the precedent and for showing us all the way.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here today. So last year, Robert Fernandez saw 3 girls get their lemonade stand shut down in front of their house. And you know, he has his own children and it really upset him. And he thought of this wonderful idea of, you know, just a day where everyone sells lemonade. And, you know, just says we're not going to comply with these just bizarre and intrusive and monolithic laws. And you know, Eddie Free said, why don't we host one of these lemonade stands here in Washington D.C. on the U.S. Capitol? And you know, I thought that it was a great idea. So me, Meg McClain, and Will Duffield, we all had our lemonade stand set up. And I mean, if you just look at the reality of this situation, I mean, we were you know, voluntarily exchanging 10 cents for a drink. And in response to that, we were, you know, chained and put in a van and chained to a wall for several hours and interrogated. I mean, there's just no connection there. And it's just very scary that the government can reach a point where it's so intrusive that it can tell you what you can put in your own body, and it doesn't let you decide the risk that you want to take. It says that you have to have this permit or that permit in order to buy and sell, and you know, you shouldn't ask permission for something that is a right, because then you're turning it into a privilege. And we shouldn't turn our rights into privileges. We should assert ourselves as free people. And so I'm really glad that everyone is here today to assert themselves as free people. And it's just a matter of drawing your line in the sand. I mean, if it doesn't stop here, then, I mean, it will get to the point where you can't even make your own food in your own home because of the fear that, you know, there could be a bacteria that would poison your children or something. And it's just like this fear-mongering that has no end. It has no end unless we decide where the end is and we draw the line in the sand. And I'm glad to see that everyone has decided that here is where they would like to draw the line. So thank you everyone for being here, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Woo!
Watch out, coming through, coming through.
Oh. Where are we going?
Right here's fine, right?
Right here?
Hickory Time. Hey. I like your sign. That is one of the best signs I've ever seen.
Oh man, I can't wait to have my seat. Oh, this is so cool. It's okay, Dad.
What do you got here? It's a good one.
Hey guys, well, they're still setting up. I have a bit to talk about as far as just free trade and what made America a great place. It wasn't made great by costly foreign wars or our entitlement programs. It wasn't even made great by our Constitution, because for all the wonderful prose in that document, it hasn't been able to stop our government from creeping its mission into more and more parts of our lives. America's greatness came from a source completely foreign to the bureaucrats and planners who surround us today. America was made great by free trade. The ability to voluntarily exchange goods and services, free from government oversight and regulation. I say all of this in the past tense because when I look around, a lot of the trade I see isn't free. Corporate powers are granted no-bid contracts while entrepreneurs are shut out of the marketplace by excessive regulatory burdens. Resources are allocated in inefficient fashions as the information provided by the price system is distorted through legislative meddling. When companies favored in Washington take undue risks and suffer catastrophic losses, we the people are expected to foot their bill. The United States is now ranked 10th in the world when it comes to economic freedom. This fall from grace is due largely to the sorts of issues that we're here speaking out against. You can't even open a lemonade stand today. Last year, I was arrested, zip-cuffed, and stuffed in the back of a police van, along with my friends Meg and Catherine. We were arrested for daring to engage in commerce without state permission. We were dragged through court proceedings and ordered to take drug tests, all because we, as free people, had the gall to offer the fruits of our labor up for trade. We were punished for engaging in this Norman Rockwell-esque piece of Americana. And, when compared to some, we got off easily. While lemonade can be sold with the proper licenses, there are some products that the government has deemed too dangerous to sell under any circumstances, citing concerns for public safety and health. Those attempting to sell raw milk have been met with even greater armed force, experiencing firsthand the violent, door-kicking paternalism of the FDA. We are free people, perfectly capable of deciding what to put in our bodies. We have no need for help offered at gunpoint. With such oppressive institutions, America, in its current state, is no longer the world's last best hope. But you are. You people willing to stand up to arbitrary power, willing to engage in trade without regard for government regulation. People willing to say, no, I will not obey. I will not go quietly. I will not trade my freedom for the false pretense of security. You free people can set an example that will help to make not only this country, but this whole earth a freer, more prosperous place. Thanks for standing with me in liberty.
Woo!
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us at the second Lemonade Freedom Day. It's an honor to be here with all these great people defending our right to voluntary exchange. I think it's important that we all notice what the problem is. And this problem isn't just about lemonade or raw milk. This problem is about the use of force and aggression on innocent people. Once we realize that, then we can look for the solution. And the solution is always nonviolence, non-compliance, peaceful non-compliance. And that's what we're here to do today. So, it's great to see all of you standing here with us in unity, because it's strength in numbers. And I want to see even more people doing this, all over across the world, joining together and ignoring these stupid laws that they have written in places like this over here. We need to tell them to stick it. That's what we need to tell them to do. We need to ignore them. They're using force against us. They're using violence against us. We're peaceful people. All we want to do is participate in voluntary exchange. We're exchanging goods amongst